with a conflict, then it can be addressed at that time.
Thank you, Your Honor. And since the public defender has been appointed, I'm going to go ahead and file a motion for the restriction of extrajudicial statements. I have shown a copy of that motion to Mr. Harrow, and I'm asking the court to enter an order granting this motion. What I'll do is I'll file it and give the court an opportunity to review it.
All right. You want to set it for a hearing day?
That would be fine. Should we set it on the same? Well, I'm told that Tuesday may be a date by which the state can provide additional information about the other charges.
All right.
So Tuesday, perhaps.
Is that going to be enough time for the state?
Yes, Your Honor.
Enough time for you to review?
It depends on when I receive the information, Your Honor.
Okay. Would you prefer Wednesday or Thursday or Friday of next week?
Judge, I'm meeting with homicide detectives at 9:30 this morning. I believe we'll be able to get in this case that information hopefully today.
What's Tuesday's date?
September 13th.
Mr. Kelly, as of today, I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. Your next court date will be September 13th for motion hearings
Yes, Your Honor.
and for report, okay? Any questions?
May I speak with Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Your Honor? Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
I'm just here to address on a first degree murder. We received some information that I think I read it and verified that Ms. Wright may be quarantined this morning with a pause. She is. She is. Okay. So I wasn't sure how Your Honor would prefer to handle that. I'm not sure if
I would
she
prefer
herself.
they masked her up, the gloves on her bra.
I would prefer that when Podmate gets COVID, they remove the Podmate.
All right. Any objections or reset?
No, we definitely want to have it removed.
All right. Y'all just give me that information.
Just can I run and check with the family and the witnesses to make sure that do we know when they may be out of?
Should we give you a date when she's out of quarantine?
She gave me 9:15 as the date for 14 minutes.
Okay.
Is that a good day for you? If the witnesses, I can order them back that day?
Actually, I'll be out of town next week, but I will be back Friday,
Or do you want Monday?
following Monday.
I'm going to have to call it Monday.
Okay. Friday would be fine.
And then a vehicular homicide next week Friday morning.
It's 2 weeks too long. Is 2 weeks too long for you to wait?
And I can also, if I can proceed with maybe
All right, we'll just get back.
How about we take the Monday after
After the
one
19th,
you got
following
that
Monday?
way we can-
the 26th.
The 19th.
I'm in a murder trial that day. Probably
Let's try that, 19th. That way.
I'll be at Judicial Conference 20th through the, so I'll be here Monday.
Let's get it.
I'll go check with the family judge, but let's hold that for the 19th for now. I'll let you know if there's.
9/19.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll try to do it. Okay.
Guys, good?
No, not yet, sorry. Can you come over?
I'm not in the shower.
Good morning, everybody. I know you're expecting a statement of some kind, so I'm here to provide one. I'll have to say in advance, there's very little I'll be able to tell you. What you just saw, of course, was that the defendant, Mr. Kelly, was arraigned on one charge of first-degree murder. The public defender was appointed as his counsel. There'll be further information forthcoming to see whether we expect that other charges will be brought soon. If there are conflicts about that, having the public defender represent Mr. Kelly on those charges, we'll find that out at the appropriate time. A court date has been set for September 13th. Yes, that'll be the next court date, and that's probably about as much as I can tell you at this time.
How come the 3 other murder charges are not part of the counts at this point?
Well, those may be. Those are, there are other charges because obviously there are a number of different incidents involved, and those charges may be forthcoming, so stay tuned.
Why wouldn't they be already, though, before people were killed?
This first incident occurred at about 12:20 in the morning. A warrant was issued based upon that shooting, and so that warrant was outstanding. As police were looking for him, the additional shootings occurred, and so those matters are still pending investigation.
What is this meeting with homicide that you're going with?
I've got no comment.
Can you tell us about why there was no bond set today?
Because of the seriousness of the charges, there's no bond in such a situation. I don't think a bond is appropriate under these circumstances. And I guess I should also have mentioned, as you also saw, the defense filed a motion for an order limiting extrajudicial comments by the parties involved, and it is similar to the motion that was filed the other day in the other case involving the shooting of Eliza Fletcher. It doesn't call for anything other than that the prosecutors abide by the ethical rules that already bind us.
And could the additional charges be announced today, possibly?
Unlikely, but stay tuned. When we're ready to announce charges, we'll announce charges.
And do you expect that motion to be addressed on Tuesday?
Yes, I do.
Can you discuss his juvenile record at all?
I don't want to get into the juvenile record. No.
Will that play a part, though?
Eliza Fletcher, did you speak or was she shot?
I'm sorry. I meant the killing. Yeah.
Will that juvenile record, though, will that play a part when we come back Tuesday?
At some point, it probably will come out at a subsequent hearing, and obviously it's relevant to considerations, but we're not prepared to discuss it at this time. I want to emphasize again, and I've said this before, but I think it bears repetition. This office takes repeat violent offenders very seriously. It merits a strong response. That's the kind of response we'll get from this district attorney's office. We, the district attorney's office, are going to continue to work closely with law enforcement as we have been, and we're going to do everything we can to see that justice is done in this case as in all other cases, because public safety is our absolute #1 priority. I know the public is concerned. They're understandably concerned about what a horrible week we have had here in Memphis over the last week. We get that. We understand how the public feels, and we want to reassure the public that we and law enforcement are working around the clock on these cases to prevent things like this from happening in the future.
And based on these 2 cases the last week, there's a juvenile history. How does this maybe change the office's work with juvenile court in terms of reviewing, strengthening sentences? Is there anything that you'd like to address to the public about how this may kind of open the door maybe for some reforms?
Well, I mean, we've been talking about reforms of the juvenile court system for a while, and I know that the newly elected juvenile court judge, Sugarman, has as well. I have been in consultation with him about overall reforms, obviously not talking ex parte about individual cases. We'll continue to do that. Obviously, I think this calls for an examination of what kind of interventions we can do early on to stop people in their course of life, and we'll be doing more about that.
One more question.
There's been talk about, commentary nationally about crime in Memphis. This morning there were hundreds, if not thousands, of people who showed up
for a run for Eliza Fletcher, symbol of hope, perhaps. How do we contrast those two issues?
Well, I mean, I think that's a good point. I mean, I think the outpouring of support that you've seen over the last week, and as evidenced by the incredible turnout at this morning's event, shows that there are good people in Memphis, and that these incidents are not representative of Memphis. There's a million people in Shelby County who go to work every day and don't commit these crimes, aren't the victims of crimes. And I think what we saw this morning is really representative of the spirit of Memphis and Shelby County. And what we saw over the past week is not at all representative. Thank you very much.
Can you share your name, sir? Can you share your name?
My name is Chris Laro.
How do you spell your last name, sir?
Lareau. I say Laro like arrow.
And your official title, sir, just make sure we have it correct.
Assistant District Attorney.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, sir.
Take care.
Thanks, Larry. Thanks, Larry. What's that? Are you done? I'm done with this, yeah.